Challenges and opportunities in the implementation of bilateral labor agreements. How to make them work. Bilateral labor agreements provide an important opportunity to strengthen cooperation between countries of origin and destination of migrant workers. But in practice, power relations between these two groups of countries can be unequal, meaning that negotiations can take place on an uneven playing field. This is partly because destination countries may have several sources of foreign labor, whereas origin countries may have more limited possibilities to access different labor markets. As a result, origin countries can find themselves in a weaker bargaining position and with little means for ensuring that destination countries are actually enforcing decent working conditions abroad, such as workplace protections and fair employment contracts. Second, the political will to implement agreements may be lacking either on the side of the country of origin or the country of destination, or both. For example, origin countries may be more interested in promoting the employment of their workers abroad to obtain higher volumes of remittances and less interested in protecting them. Destination countries may sign a bilateral agreement to improve their international image without serious commitment to its implementation. Third, joint committees formed by the two state parties, an essential mechanism for monitoring and following up on implementation of agreements, are rarely fully active. They may not meet regularly due to lack of resources or interest by the two parties to the agreement. Fourth, bilateral labor agreements offer an opportunity to regulate and streamline existing migration flows between two countries. Following adoption of an agreement, recruitment may continue to take place as before without modification to migration legislation or improved workplace monitoring and supervision to better regulate recruitment procedures. Fifth, changing economic situations following signing of agreements also pose both challenges and opportunities. Economies and labor markets are dynamic by nature and can evolve significantly by the time an agreement enters into force, potentially modifying both labor supply and demand in origin and destination countries. This also offers an opportunity to amend the agreement to suit the new context. Finally, major stakeholders such as employers in destination countries, migrant workers, trade unions, concerned NGOs, and recruitment agencies are critical to achieving success of agreements. However, they are often insufficiently informed of the key provisions of agreements and how they affect them or how they can support agreements through accompanying measures. How to make agreements work effectively? If bilateral labor agreements are to work properly, things cannot remain the same after signing off agreements. Origin countries need to take concrete measures, which can include amending laws and regulations as needed, providing consular services, reforming recruitment systems, and improving public employment services and private recruitment agencies' capacity, and strengthening pre-departure orientations. Destinations countries should inform employers of their obligations and rights under the new agreement, improve laws and regulations as needed, improve labor inspection systems for monitoring of working and living conditions of migrant workers, and enforcement mechanism for violations and cases of violence and harassment, including gender-based violence. The two parties to the agreement should prepare an implementation plan immediately following signing and adhere to it closely. Designation of focal points in each country to follow up on the implementation plan is essential. The two governments should also promote coordination among different ministries and agencies responsible for labor migration. Some of the provisions in the agreement may require capacity building of responsible government staff and other stakeholders to implement. Specific training of relevant stakeholders may be needed to ensure that gender concerns in the different stages of the migration process and implementation of the agreement are taken into account. Effective implementation also requires actively functioning joint committees. This implies taking several measures, including spelling out clear timelines for the establishment of the joint committee and frequency of meetings, defining the specific functions and developing terms of reference of the joint committee, and allocating resources from both parties for its functioning. Involvement of all major stakeholders, in addition to government officials, in follow-up and monitoring of agreements, including employers and their respective organizations in destination countries, migrant workers and their associations, trade unions, recruitment agencies, and concerned NGOs is essential, in addition to ensuring that the text of agreements is widely disseminated and understood. These stakeholders can be incorporated into monitoring committees and participate in period evaluations of agreements. Renewals of agreements should be made subject to evaluations at regular intervals rather than on an automatic basis.